From years of anxiety to warrior and mentor, Bradley Robinson created the Anxiety Project to help you end your anxiety naturally. Let's mold the new you and let's end anxiety together.
Hello and welcome to the Anxiety Project podcast. I am Brad Robinson. This episode is number 105, and I'm going to talk about how people can really misinterpret their sensations caused by anxiety as being something life-threatening like cancer or any other disease. And I suffered from this deeply week after week after week when I used to suffer from severe anxiety. I remember a moment during my anxiety disorder when I was in the foyer of my parents' house and I was rolling around catastrophizing over a certain sensation, pain in my right side. I was thinking it was some sort of cancer on my kidneys or something. And I remember my parents hovering over me, giving me words of reassurance, but it was all a blur because I was stuck in my own cage, right? Of high emotion, high fear, and it was a nightmare because my doctor didn't find anything. She said everything checked out. It was normal. I got a urine test, got my blood drawn, things like that. Everything was fine, but for me, it was the sensation was still there. So I believed that, the doctor didn't find it or she missed it. And then that snowballed my anxiety even more. And so there was another moment too where I was lying in bed all day and I was just fearful over my health, fearful of dying, fearful of being alone because I might die. And then I remember calling up my sister to come over just to keep me company because I didn't want to be alone. I was afraid. I needed that reassurance. I needed that someone to lean on for that reassurance because being trapped in my own mind was an absolute nightmare. I was dependent not only on TV just to distract me, but on other people to give me that reassurance. But I was also dependent on junk foods. I was dependent on my safe zone, being at home, right? And being in bed. And so in this podcast, I really want to talk about how we can break the patterns and start to realize that, okay, this is anxiety causing the sensations, and the sensations are leading me to believe that they're a serious illness. But for me, it never came true. None of the illnesses that I thought I had never came true. Not even one. But the thing to remember is if your anxiety systems are continuously active day after day, month after month, year after year, there is a chance that you will develop a real serious illness because your body is burning up resources like crazy. And so your immune system is compromised. And so that's a great reason to overcome anxiety and begin the recovery journey because it's important to attach a lot of anxiety and fear to staying where you are so that it can drive you forward to recover and become somebody different, to develop a new lifestyle. So when someone like my old self, the stories that I just mentioned, me being in bed, me on the floor, these were moments where I was stuck in this void, the unknown unknown. And what that means is I had no idea what was happening. And so when somebody moves from that unknown to the known unknown, which is discovering that the sensations are from anxiety, they're in known unknown. And that means that, okay, I know it's anxiety, so I put a label on it of anxiety. That's a relief. I know the sensations are from anxiety, but it's still unknown because I have to learn about anxiety now. I have to be a student of anxiety. And so that's the known unknown. And a lot of people who come to me say to me, "Oh, Brad, I'm so relieved that I found your channel because I've moved into this known unknown," right? I now know what is going on. I'm not in this limbo anymore, but now I have to be a student and learn about this whole recovery process and what I need to do. Take responsibility for the anxiety that is now controlling your life for now, but you have an opportunity to change it, to break your patterns, which is really important. And so I had no idea. It was my anxiety that was causing the sensations I was experiencing, because my anxiety system was on 24/7. I woke up in the middle of the night panicking. I spent all day ruminating, catastrophizing, avoiding, running away, being dependent on many things. And so I wasn't unable to really think rationally over my sensations, because it's hard when your anxiety systems are active, when your amygdala is active. It takes over all other brain processes, so it's hard to really think rationally, really have a clear mind, right? My mind was all over the place. It was total chaos. And so our brains are plastic. It's really important to understand this, because this will help you get out of the stuck state you're in. Knowing your brain is plastic, meaning it's able to unlearn and it's able to learn new things and new habits. And that's really important. We can break our patterns that have caused us to dig this deep hole that we're in. We are able to get out of a rut because of how our brains are wired and how our brains are plastic. And that link of fear, not only towards the sensations, but of the unknown, the uncertainty grew. So what I mean by that is we can learn to unlearn thought patterns and behaviors quite quickly. And that link of fear, not only towards our sensations, but of the unknown, it grew and grew. And what I mean by that is that the dragon, the monster, is growing under the bed. It's growing. And the monster became so big when I was really suffering from my anxiety disorder that it became even that much harder to confront that dragon, because the water was overflowing from the glass. My glass was full of water. So any other water that I pour into the glass, I can't even handle it because the monster is too big. And so like a scared rabbit, I curled up in my den. I was in bed. I was curled up at home in my safe zone. And so when I finally began to learn about anxiety from other people that have overcame it, because that's how you connect to the recovery journey. You have to connect with other people who has gone through the same thing you've gone through. And that connection came really quick to me when I discovered coaches on the internet that talk about their journey, their past, overcoming anxiety, and it clicked, right? So it's important to find that person that clicks with you. And so you can learn, you can grow with them, right? Because now it's about you. And now it's about being selfish. You have to become selfish when you begin to take on responsibility for the anxiety that is keeping you stagnant, right? You have to be selfish for once. You have to pick and choose moments in your life where you have to be selfish, because you can't help other people. You can't be the best wife, husband, boyfriend, girlfriend to that person if you're not even helping yourself, if you don't even love yourself, if you don't even respect yourself. So there has to be a moment where you have to work on yourself and become selfish, so that when you get better, when you overcome anxiety, then your improvement can benefit the other people around you. And that's what happened in my recovery. I started to benefit so much from this new lifestyle that I adopted that everybody around me started to change as well. So once you change, you will see that the people around you will change, because that's important. That's the beginning steps. And that provides a lot of meaning into your life. So when you're beginning this journey, you create this new lifestyle for yourself. And that lifestyle for me was doing activities, doing exercises that really activated my parasympathetic nervous system, which is your rest and digestive system. So when you meditate, you're activating that parasympathetic nervous system. When you go and exercise, and when you finish exercising, your parasympathetic nervous system, that relaxation and calmness feeling afterwards, is the parasympathetic nervous system. Also, when you lie in your bath and you're relaxed and you're calm, or you're getting that massage, that's that system being active. But it's important to do those things because your sympathetic nervous system is active when you're feeling anxiety. That's the stress response. So the beginning of my recovery was to counteract this stress response with the parasympathetic nervous system. What can I do to calm down my anxiety response? Because it's active, it's going crazy every day. So I had to change my lifestyle. I had to learn about meditation. I had to begin that whole journey. And then I had to go and exercise to help release all of that built up energy from my anxiety response. I had to spend a lot of time away from the TV learning about anxiety, because that calmed me down. When I was watching these productive videos, when I was learning, I felt productive. And so that activated my parasympathetic nervous system. I started to take baths and light incense, and I really became this new person so that I can counteract my anxiety response that was being active because of the old person that I was. And so I had to prove to myself that I am healthy, because I had strong beliefs that I'm not healthy, because I was letting these negative thoughts run my life for a long time. The thoughts of, what if I die of this disease? What if I am unhealthy? What if I do jump over this ledge? I had all these crazy thoughts that I had no control over. And an anxiety sufferer believes each and every one of these thoughts. Each one of these thoughts leads them more into anxiety because, like I said before, their glass is full. It's overflowing. So each little thing you add to the glass, you're going to be sent right to catastrophic emotion, right? High emotion, each one of those things that you add. So I had to prove to myself that, okay, I am healthy. But when you begin this journey, you're going to get to a worse place first before you get to feeling good, because that's the process of confronting the things that you don't want to confront. And that drives a lot of people to go back to their old ways, but it's important to confront everything courageously. And the reason why everything becomes worse before it gets better is because you're facing those things that you were always avoiding. Now, to prove to myself that I was healthy, I had to change my sleep schedule. I had to get enough sleep at night. So I was sleeping more. Also, relaxation exercises, like I said before, helps calm down that anxiety response. I was introduced to Wim Hof, which was amazing. His breath work helped me to calm down. That activates your parasympathetic nervous system, deep breathing. So I was doing Wim Hof exercises every single day. Then I was changing my diet, eating a lot more vegetables, eating less, chocolate bars, granola bars, things like that during the day. I was just eating 3 meals. I was starting to eat more salads and just I was eating more chicken and things like that. So I was paying attention more to my diet. And so exercise being another part of this thing, I had to develop and push myself into a routine of exercise, which was very difficult. And this allowed me to think more clearly. It calmed me down because I had a lot of energy built up within me. So the recovery journey, it largely consists of doing new things that you are not accustomed to, placing yourself in uncomfortable situations to prove to yourself that you have what it takes to handle situations like this without running away or being dependent on other things or people. To build courage, you have to step into that unknown. Anxiety sufferers close themselves off into their rooms. You have to step out and desensitize yourself gradually so that you can build up this courage. And so, like the plastic brain that I was talking to you about before, you have to start to shift and create new neuronal connections. These new neuronal connections are attaching safety to the experience rather than dread, right? Because when you're in that situation that's making you anxious, your anxiety response is telling you to run away. But when you stay and fight those horrible feelings, that's also what relating to what I said before. Things get worse before they get better. So when you're in that situation that makes you anxious, it's going to be like hell facing your fears. So it's going to be pretty bad. But when you stay and you prove to yourself that, oh, I can survive in this situation without dying, you're developing these new circuits in your brain. And so the more you develop these circuits, the more courage, the more you're going to face them rather than staying at home in your safe zone. And you're going to be willing to confront these situations. I write in my journal every morning when I was really suffering from anxiety. I wrote in my journal, I'm excited to face this certain situation today. I changed the tone, right? I turned it into excitement because even though I was nervous and anxious, I wanted to face it because I knew that facing those situations is going to help me develop myself, to get out of the rut. I had no other choice. There was no other choice. It was either facing what I feared the most, or staying where I used to be. And the crazy thing is that when I began to face things that I feared the most and I overcame them, I felt different. I felt proud of myself. And so how can you go back to your old ways once you begin to feel proud of yourself? You just can't do it. You've been to the other side. You've been there. And then I've been there. And once I discovered that other side, oh, I can survive. Oh, look at me. I did it. I'm so proud. Then there's no way you're going back. So keep placing yourself in those new situations, and those new situations break the old circuitry that has led you down into that hole. And that's where I'm going to leave you on today's podcast episode. Thank you for being here with me today. And don't forget to rate and review this podcast on iTunes. I would greatly appreciate it. And remember, do not let anxiety define who you are. I will see you on the next podcast episode. Bye for now.
Brad's powerful anxiety recovery program is available at unpluganxiety.com. The Anxiety Project program is downloadable and puts the power of anxiety recovery in your own hands. What are you waiting for? Visit unpluganxiety.com for more details. Recovery starts now.